Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back. So looking ahead, the series where I break down and analyze the meta was happening over Japan and how will it impact Taiwan. We are just a few days away from the release on Phantasmal Flames, so in today's video we're going to break down exactly how impactful and influenced the meta could be from this new set by looking at results from Japan's city leagues. So as also we got some brand new cards getting revealed, one of them from a set which Japan is going again in just a couple weeks time, and one of the other sets afterwards has got over 700 cards. So we're going to see what impactful cards have been revealed so far. Just want to say thank you so much for supporting the channel recently. I know the videos haven't been up as frequently, but I just want to figure out a good source swap for the channel. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video with a new card. So this is part of the Mega Dream set, which will be gained in January, but Japan's gained at the end of this month. So we've got one of the cards coming from the Legend ZA game. We've got a new supporter card, which lets you discard one card from your hand in order to use this card, then search your deck for up to 4 lightning Pokemon, reveal them and put them into your hand. This is a great reprint when Miraidon rotates. This is a great supporter card to get out all of our amazing lightning Pokemon. We should get a new Mega, which is Mega Electros EX, which has the attack for 2 lightning, split bomb, attack does 6 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon, they apply weakness and resistance to bench Pokemon, and a main attack for 3 lightning energy does 190 damage. You may discard 2 lightning energies from his Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now paralyzed. Auto paralyze is great. You do have to discard 2 lightning energies, but you're already going to be playing electric for energy acceleration for lightning types. So I do think there is some synergy for this archetype, especially with Carney for a great sort of supported option. We also have this amazing Dragonair, which of course we know we're getting Mega Dragonair yet. We talked about that over in the summer. And this new this regular Dragonair has an amazing ability and a good reprint from the Dark Dragonair from way back in the base era, which is Evolution Guidance. Once during your turn, you may use this ability. If this Pokemon has any energy attached to this one, search your deck for one of 4 Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck afterwards. This is great. Obviously, if you have multiple Dragonairs, you can get out many amazing evolving Pokemon. Of course, you get like some of the Pidgeots, you can get out with your Mega Dragonite. So we've got a lot of really good cards which can really take evolve from this one, which I think is really, really powerful. Now we go on the 100 theme deck set, which Japan is getting in the end of December time. Unsure when we're going to get released of it. There is many, many reprints, and this set has over 700 cards, which it's going to be very intriguing about how we're going to get this. So then 2 new cards to get revealed, which we should be talking about, is Mega Charizard YEX for 2 fire and 1 colors. It has the attack, discard 3 energies from this Pokemon. This attack does 120 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. So, of course, it's a great sniping effect. We have obviously Lucario EX. We have, of course, the likes of Charizard EX, and of course, Mega Charizard X. So, I do have this as a good sort of synergy to go with this one as a good sniping attacking option. 3 fire energies, discarding that and instantly doing 120 damage is very powerful. You can even team up with the Evolution energy, the Ignition energy. So, it's already a class of 3 energies, so just discard that one, and it can easily accelerate this from Charizard EX. So I do really like this card and can see some synergy, especially for Lucario EX. But the card which a lot of people are talking about this whole weekend is that Pokepad. Search your deck for a Pokemon without a rule box, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. This is one of the strongest Pokemon search I've seen in a long time, with the likes of Nestball rotating at start next year. For Japan, it'll be over in January, for us, most likely April time. This is incredibly powerful. Think about the likes of Dragapult. Dragapult never likes to discard. Talked about it many times how Lily's determination really has saved that archetype. Feel from the brink, not from the brink, but you never want to discard your hand. This is incredibly powerful. This can get you to cloaks. Now suddenly you can play 1 Ultra Ball because you're going to be Pokepal, you're getting out all of your basic Pokemon. You can use the Pokepad to get out your cloaks and hopefully draw into your Dragapult in a later game. But you can also get your likes of your all your Dusclops lines, you can get all your Haluchas, you can get all your Badoos. This is such a powerful item search, especially in loads of these non-EX decks. This is really powerful. So also in a regular EX deck, even likes of Gardevoir, even though you might like to have an Ultra Ball, just chucking one Power Pad in, you can get Pokepad. You can get this any Pokemon you like, except likes of your Gardevoir EXs. This is an insanely powerful item card, which will see a lot of play moving forward. Now, this obviously is out in December time. These other cards are out in November time. So we've got quite a while to play over this one. And this will, in fact, the set will be legal for that Japan Championships happening in December time, which I believe will be in Aichi, which is very, very exciting. Now, let's actually look at the City League meta share, see exactly what we can learn from the Phantasmal Flames. So this is from 376 top 16 results, which is a very good number to look at. As I know we've taken a little bit of a break from looking at City Championships. We can see here that Gholdengo is up at the very top with 15% meta share, which is really powerful and not really big compared to our metagame. We've seen here likes of Gholdengo. Gholdengo is only second place with 12.8, so a little bit lower than we've seen before. So I do think that Gholdengo is in a very good spot. Now, it didn't really gain any new cards, but I think it gained a really good position. Thinking of likes of Prime Catcher has been a very good ace spec right now. Having the likes of the Rocks, the Lunatone, Soul Rock is a great combination. Dragapult is a deck which is also doing incredibly well, purely for the use of the likes of Dawn. Dawn is a search deck for a basic Pokemon Stage 1 and Stage 2, so instantly getting out all your Dragapult lines, getting out all your Dusclops, getting out some really good powerful basic Pokemon. You can get out your Dusclop and even your Bloodwing Ursaluna as a good way to do damage accelerate, purchase more prize cards, and effectively you can use the attack very much a lot earlier. Charizard is again another card which is doing really well and gained a lot from Dawn. Also has a new Moltres card, which is incredibly powerful. It's a great single prize attacking option for 1 energy. Chuck the like of just a little bit of extra damage on this one. You can cave out of Gholdengo for 1 fire energy, which is really powerful. Gardevoir, we've already mentioned before how strong this is in this new set. It gains only really likes of Mega Diancie, but Mega Diancie is one of Gardevoir's best attacking options and definitely one of the strongest Megas to come out from Phantasmal Flames. For those who know what Mega Diancie does, you could discard 2 energies for 2 psychics, and it does 240 damage. So not too bad, but of course you have the likes of Munkidori, so you can, if you energy accelerate 2 energies, you have 2 Munkidoris, you move those 2 energies, 60 damage. Now all of a sudden, that 240 is looking more like nearly 300 damage, which is very, very powerful. Sorry, it is 300 damage, which is very, very powerful for 2 energies, and obviously only require 2 energies. It's very good. With inbuilt ability, which makes it take 30 less damage. So effectively, it does have 300 HP, which is really good for a 3-prize basic Pokemon for Gardevoir. Now, Ceruledge, again, it's a good deck which comes from the likes of the Moon package, but not exactly any new cards. Same thing could be said the likes of Raging Bolt and likes of Marnie's Grimmsnarl. I like these 2 cards. I think these decks are still very powerful. But if we look at the metagame right now, Marnie's Grimmsnarl is doing really well for us over in the Mega Evolution format. With Raging Bolt, it's definitely taking a huge dip from its very dominant placements now, going down to only about 3%. I can see right now Raging Bolt is looking, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, it's becoming more of the Hero box right now. Has a good sort of combination of other sort of decks and other sort of key cards, but we are in a format where most people are still playing Shaman. We're playing a lot of protection on the bench, and if you can't really keep up with the likes of Gholdengo, how powerful that can be as Dragapult and Gardevoir right now, that's where Raging Bolt, I feel like, is losing that little bit of charm. Now, regular Alakazam is doing really well, having a lot of damage and cards you have in hand, you get to put those damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. Obviously, you have a lot of good draw. We now have the likes of Wonder Patch, which got revealed, which is basically just a psychic version of Dark Patch, which is one of the strongest energy acceleration cards we've seen in a very long time. Mega Lucario, again, doesn't really gain too much from a new set. I think it just gains a good sort of popularity, and it's one of the strongest regular Mega deck. And Terrabox as well is about that 2%. But I want to talk a little bit more about some other sort of key Mega decks which are doing really well. We've obviously talked about my last video. I looked at the likes of Mega Alakazam, not Alakazam, Mega Absol, and that Toad box, and it did very, very well, which I definitely didn't project at all. Mega's definitely took me a little bit away, surprised how powerful that Archetype was. And you can see here, it is still very, very popular in the Mega Evolution format for us. It is the 4th most popular and powerful Archetype over which we've had. So one of the things we want to look at, analyzing this sort of metagame here, is see exactly what are the new sort of key decks. What are the sort of archetypes which are much more stronger in the Phantasmal Flames? So of course we've got to look at that Gholdengo, those Gardevoirs, those Dragapults, and of course Marnie's Grimmsnarl, Charizard. These decks I feel like are definitely becoming very powerful in this format. Now with some other decks as well, which did perform pretty well over in here in our format, but didn't really perform over well over in Japan. That goes from likes of Enzorock, Flareon, and Jolteobox. None of them really had a good key showing, especially if we look at all of these results here. That's definitely more in the 23% of the other category. So let's actually now look at some of the sort of decks that did well and kind of analyze exactly what we can learn about it going into Phantasmal Flames. The first thing is we look at this Gholdengo list, and you can see here is definitely a little bit different to what we saw beforehand. Now, one of the key things I want to mention right now is we plus played out 1 copy of that Premium Power Pro. Making sure that Sora can hit for 100 damage is very strong. There are a lot of basic Pokemon right now which have about 80 HP, sometimes even 90 for the stage 2. So getting rid of Vigil Cloaks, getting rid of an 80 HP Charmander, which will now be in the game now because we have that big increase of HP. released Phantasmal Flames, so I think that's a really good one inclusion. Vitality Belt, make sure that Gholdengo can do that additional 10 more damage. That saves that additional energy you have to discard. Think about likes of Serendipity, Tiamat's Ogerpon, all of them have 210 HP. So a way to actually save that, so instead of getting rid of an extra energy card, this is definitely a very good inclusion. Prime Catcher, just having that additional gusting factor is really strong, as we are very much more of a heavy Arven gusting style deck. So additional more gusting as well could be really strong, or generally just a way to get around like sort of a Yveltal or Maractus or a stalling strategy is really strong. Lana Fade, I've noticed this a little bit pop up in most sort of decks. Good way to recover some basic energy cards, but also some basic Pokemon as well. Get back your Gimmighoulds, your Soul Rocks, your Lunatos, or even that Baby Gholdengo, which could be a great attacking option in the 8 late style game. Sorry, it does, yeah. So I do think this is a very strong little Gholdengo deck, and definitely one which is not really incorporating any of the new cards, but good to really understand. But a deck which is definitely incorporating some of the new cards is Dragapult. We can see here, again, the build isn't too different. What I love about this one is the other builds is it does play the heavy counts of Red Candy. I personally like a Red Candy Dragapult build. I like to get away Dusknoir as quick as possible, sometimes even a Dragapult. As we are playing up in Neo Energy, it's very good to easily, quickly get out to play is much easier. Now, I've done some practice with Dragapult without Red Candy, and I do understand how powerful it can be. You know, much more of a stalling sort of strategy, and much more slower sort of game. But I really like that energy acceleration on a Dusknoir, click getting out your Dusknoirs out, and I really, really love that sort of strategy. Now, it does play 2 copies of Dawn, which is the new sort of supporter card, which I mentioned before, really helping elevate those evolution style decks. And I think it's a very good inclusion for this. Now, it still plays the supporter count, which is very common. The 4 copies of the Lily's Determination, the one Hilda, I love Hilda, getting it up in your energy, in your Cloak, or even your Dragapult is a really, really powerful sort of way how Dragapult is adapting. Again, Dawn is the only real new card which you really think about for Dragapult, but definitely I think it's a really good, worthy conclusion. Another one is Charizard, and this build here definitely plays a lot more of the newer sort of cards. The first one is the Charmeleon with 200, 2 copies of the 110 HP. This is a lot of HP for deal with Charmeleon. We started off with the 90 HP one, protecting it on the bench from damage counters. Now going for 110, which is just a lot of HP for your opponent to really deal with. Other new cards as well is that Dawn, because it's an evolution deck. Dawn is really elevating these Evo decks, which I think is really good. We play a lot of different stage 1, stage 2s, basic Pokemon. Dawn is a really good must for this deck. And that new Moltres, which I mentioned before, which does more damage if the opponent's active Pokemon is in the EX, doing additional 90 more damage, which effectively means there's 210, 110 or 220 on if he hits for weakness. So it's obviously a very, very powerful sort of a single price attacking option to compare well with the likes of Chi-Yu. 2 copies of Jet Energy, so we're not really anything installed in the active spot, and obviously put it up to get any carbon you have. Briar and Maxibel are the decks which really, an inclusion of Charizard, which I think makes it still a lot more relevant right today. Maxibel makes sure we can do additional more damage a lot more in the early game to really help us elevate to get really started. And obviously, Briar can cheat out additional more prize cards as well as on the likes of Dusknoir. Personally, I think this is a very, very powerful archetype. Having a Klefki, you just chuck it in the action spot. We can show off basic Pokemon abilities, i.e., the likes of opponent's Psyducks, so we can activate our Dusknoirs. I really like Charizard. There are also obviously the likes you could do Mega Charizard to do additional more damage. You have energy to discard, but it's not really performing too well. It's kind of like a one-off in 1 in every 15 Charizard decks out there. So it's not as popular as people may have hoped for, but I still think it might be a good one to really test out if you're really liking to try any of the new sort of cards. Now, Gardevoir is a dark type which only really get 1 new card, and that 1 new card is really good. Mentioned before, and of course, is that Mega Diancie EX. It is absolutely perfect for Gardevoir. Already gained too many new cards. Getting Mystery Garden, Laser Determination, a brand new Curlier and Rolson reset. Getting now this got Mega Diancie EX. It's definitely the missing piece. If you're testing Gardevoir, and obviously it's one of the most popular archetypes, it's the best out of the Mega Evolution format, and will definitely will continue to be up at the top sort of tables right now. Definitely try out this Mega Diancie, and I think it's a really good, worthy contention. Again, a little bit less on that because that's the only real new card. Ceruledge, again, is an archetype like Gholdengo, which is a good position around the metagame to really gain any new cards. Gain the Luto Sorrow combat, that batch from Mega Evolution. Of course, the Fighting Gong, which I think is still really, really powerful, just gain those basic energies. And I've also mentioned before, which actually Shibama did mention on Twitter recently, is there are actually 11 different types of Charcadet that is legal to play right now. So that's absolutely insane that you can have so many different variants. You can play 4 of, and they can be completely different to someone else's 4 of. So I think that's a very interesting way to play around this one. Of course, those 2 Charcadet, I believe personally, are one of the strongest one. Willis, 20 damage for 1 fire energy, and the other one just does 30 damage for 2 fire energies, basically, to get out the KO on those Badoos, which I still think is really, really strong. Sorry about that. So again, Ceruledge, not really too much to change about this one, but I still think it's a little bit impactful. Now, Raging Bolt is to have a lot of bit of a makeover. I've noticed over in Japan right now, Raging Bolt is taking a little bit of a backseat, kind of going more like calling it basically a terror box. You can see here it does play obviously the baby Raging Bolt, that damage sniping capability. We've seen a couple of lists which don't play Shaman. Of course, Shaman is very, very powerful for effectively protecting your non-raw box Pokemon. And of course, Raging Bolt can attack those some of those raw box Pokemon, and generally also some low HP Pokemon. So I do think that's why Raging Bolt is really powerful. Iron Leaves to help you from getting those stall trapped, Chien-Pao to get rid of some excess of not useless Pokemon, but like Pokemon which might take out a lot of space, like some Latias, Squawkabilly, Pheasantipity, if your opponent is looking for those boss KOs. And also having that one copy of Briar, making sure you can attack with Trapper Ghost or generate the Tilmon's Ogerpon to get out those additional extra prize cards. So again, a little bit of a different way how people are approaching Raging Bolt. Could this be the new way to play it in the Phantasmal Flames? Think about it more on a toolbox or strategy, potentially. But overall, I don't think Raging Bolt is in a very good position moving into the brand new format. And Myers Grimmsnarl didn't gain any new cards, but I think like this is a very interesting build nevertheless. A 3-3 line, a very heavy hat count of Frostlass, so a lot of damage counters, which is definitely a very scary sort of thing. But also still having the 4 copies of Munkidori, but only playing 1 copy of Spikemuth. Maybe this is go with that the opponent plays a lot of Spikemuth potentially, so effectively if only one set on play, if against Myers Grimmsnarl, you can go through that sort of strategy. Playing 1 copy of Raikani and only 1 copy of Morgrim, so not the classic 3-2-2 line which we used to, having a 2-1-2 line, which is definitely much, much thinner than I would have hoped for. I definitely would be cutting one of the Snow Rats and Frostlass to add to additional more Impotent and Morgrim, just to help with the consistency of the deck. Miraculous over Yveltal, I've noticed that's becoming a lot more powerful. Purely, I believe, on the ability is so strong. Yes, I know it could be trapped in the access spot because it does have 2 retreat costs, but effectively the ability is just incredibly strong. It takes any damage onto it. It's doing additional more damage. Your opponent takes 6 damage counters is really strong. You do compare it to a free retreat Yveltal, which still does exactly the same thing, trapping the access spot for 20 damage. And of course, Psyduck to protect all of your guys from the opponent's copies of Dusclops and Dusknoirs. Now, Alakazam is one of the first that's like a new-ish archetype, but we can actually talk about it because I have a lot of stuff going for this one. Of course, we have a Kadabra and Alakazam. When you evolve, just draw some cards. Dunsparce, evolving, once you turn, you may draw 3 cards. Obviously, this is a very, very powerful sort of strategy. And of course, we can see here it's the best sort of option is having that Dawn, getting out your Kadabras, your Alakazam, or most importantly, your Dunsparce into Dunsparce, because they'll always be shuffling into the deck, which is definitely you always want to get them back. I mean, Hilda, so we can get our energies. We have the Erechian energy. So effectively, as long as you can attach lots of energies, i.e. you'll be always using that wonder patch to attach from the discard to your Alakazam, you can use your rich energy, attach it into your Dunsparce, and shuffle them back in, draw just so many energies, which is good. Sorry, so many cards. So you can have a huge hand, potentially use those multiple enriching energies per game, could be shuffling constantly back into the deck. We can also see it does play the Battle Colosseum, preventing any damage counters being able to be moved from the opponent's side to your side. You can still move it, but they won't be taking any of that damage counters, i.e. protecting yourself from Munkidori and likes of Dragapult. So again, I really like this. I think it's a lot of fun. You can obviously draw a load of cards right now, and I think Dawn is definitely one of the most powerful cards to come out from the set, especially for this Alakazam. So I'm very intrigued to see how this can really go forward. And of course, Mega Lucario. Generally gain absolutely any new cards, but I think it gained a good position right now. I think this is definitely one of the strongest Megas, definitely one of the most popular. Now we are seeing likes of Toolboxes definitely coming at the Absol deck, becoming a lot more favorable in the tournament sort of setting, but I think it's not really kind of getting that showcasing right now over in Japan. It's in that 22%, it was about at 2%, because they did appear just halfway through Phantasmal Flames over in Japan and didn't really get that big sort of time to shine. So I do think Mega Lucario is one of Japan's most safety option. It's very powerful. Laser Determination, Mega Lucario, gusting, drawing, and just doing a ton of damage is really strong. And last thing I really want to talk about is a deck to keep people on their radar. It is Dartbox. So for those who don't know, we've got this brand new Toxicity, which, yeah, put 2 damage counters on in the Pokemon, but you do get to search your deck for Dark Energy and attach them to this one. So I think that's into your Dark Pokemon, which I think is really, really strong. And some Dark Pokemon, of course, you can utilize is Oromoon, and Mega Absol EX, one of the strongest Dark type attacking options right now. You can see here we do play the Yveltal for that trapping sort of play, Petrance, who don't get any stall play, but does play this other Brute Barnet, which is fine, but it does more damage, the amount of damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon. So I do think that is a very, very powerful strategy which you can utilize. Having like some unfair stamp energy switch, making sure you can be much more destructive, as well as also just getting out, move around your energies around here to actually go attached to those Monkey Dories. I really think this is a very fun strategy. We've already seen some people play around with it on PTCG Live, as its toxicity was revealed in the Mega Gengar League battle boxes, which are in fact already ready to play. So generally just looking at this one, what are the big takeaways from Phantasmal Flames? There's only a slight change from the current format. Most importantly, I would say like so Gardevoir gains a lot more cards. Gholdengo I still think stays in a good position, but generally just Dawn in general is a very good powerful card for those evolution decks. This is why I think it's really saving Charizard. Charizard did gain another few cards to play with that one. I hate Charmanders, Charmeleons, Mega Charizard X potentially, but of course having that Moltres as well, that great single price attacking option. Gholdengo obviously had a great play rate and generally can it really convert over. And to answer, it's one of the only real good megas from this set. Now we've got obviously Mega Gengar, which has seen some play right now and some Zoroark builds online. We're seeing that Mega Gengar kind of like is that a good way to reduce the price cards that your opponent takes from their dark Pokemon. But also we've got the Mega Lopunny, which was obviously good. It's a good way to move from bench to active spot, does additional damage. Could just again see a little bit more play. All this will really have time to play out. And generally again, we'll Gengar see some play as well. I really think the Phantasmal Flames isn't really going to be as impactful as possible, and we're not. I don't feel we're going to see an impactful set for quite a while, especially as we got the reprint set, the Mega Dream, as well as also the 100 starter deck as well. So hopefully we can see some really good impactful cards come from this one and some new archetypes, because Mega Evolution, I think, was a really, really powerful set. So generally, overall, will it be an impactful set? Will we see a lot of changes? I'm unsure right now. I think there are definitely some powerful cards like Dawn, like Toxicity, and some very powerful megas like the likes of Diancie, but generally can some of the other megas as well, like Gengar, like Charizard X, really shine through. And will all really come from Mega Dream. Now, we are just a few weeks away from this set. It's out at the end of November, so I'm very intrigued to see it. So, of course, it's going to be a lot of reprints, but also some very powerful new cards as well, which you've already seen from the likes of that Dragonair, and hopefully we can see a little bit more from the 100 starter deck set, and hopefully we're going to see how we're going to get that. Will we get half of those cards in our January set, which will be out then. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Sorry for a little bit of lack of uploads, and hopefully I'm going to get a little bit more on a better routine. So if you guys have enjoyed this video, please make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to check out my highs and lows of a TCG player, which I did a few weeks ago. I'm very, very proud of that video, and gives some good insights to exactly how I'm feeling about the game. Until then, see you guys next time. Bye for now.